And tonight, Kawhi Leonard is back in Toronto. And look, I got to give the Raptors fans a ton of credit. I'm not surprised because it's the right thing to do. It makes the most sense to do, but they did it. And maybe some fan bases wouldn't. But they gave Kawhi Leonard a hero's treatment in his return. There it is. They thanked him for getting them a ring. He got his ring tonight. They had a 2-minute video tribute. And they also had serenaded him with chants of MVP. Wow. MVP. So it was great. I think he deserved it. I would have been disappointed had they booed, even though fans, you're pulling for your home team. But I just think, look, he had 1 year there. He obviously made the most of it, delivered the country its first NBA championship. And it was just a great run that he had there. And I don't think you can blame him if it's his choice. He went there, didn't mope, didn't sulk. He didn't want to go to the cold weather. He was far away from his home in LA. He had only played in a warm weather city in San Antonio, but he didn't mope or anything, complain. He made the most of it, got them a ring. And when he left, it was within his rights. And so I think the fans handled it the right way. I think it was great what they did. But all that said, right now, it's Clippers 43, Raptors 38, Kawhi 5 points. Doesn't look like, at least at this point, it's going to be one of those huge nights like Paul George had in his return to Indiana, or Anthony Davis, as I said, when he went back to New Orleans.
I think that's a nice thing to go all out for a guy. I hope you won a championship.
Yep.
I think people should always, they don't come. They hadn't won one without him, Chris. And you don't know when you're going to get the next one.
You may never. There are franchises that have never gotten great one. Utah. Everybody would say a stellar NBA franchise.
That's a great point. Never got one. Had two awesome all-time great players on the same team at the same time.
Yep.
And they never won.
Indiana never has won.
You embrace those moments, Chris, because they're part of your sports memory, right? Your sports history.
No doubt.
You remember, oh my goodness, remember 2018, 2019 NBA season? It was awesome. Remember the championship in 2019? That's what people will think about, and we've seen it. I remember when the Red Sox finally won the World Series after 80-something years.
Yep.
People were holding up signs. I can finally die now. You know what I mean? But Chris, that's how much it meant to them.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And look, most cities, or a lot of cities now, it's the thing to do is build a statue of a guy. If the Raptors build a statue, at least to this point, it's got to be Kawhi Leonard.
But I'm not giving
And I
a statue.
think it would be you wouldn't?
No.
I think it would be totally justified.
See, I disagree with that.
If they gave, really? Your only championship?
You don't know that? I'm not building the championship off of one, a statue off of one.
No, I'm not saying give it to him like next summer. But I'm saying, let's say in 10 years, 15 years, if they haven't won another ring. Now, if Pascal Siakam leads them to 2 championships, of course, or somebody else does it, I get that. But if in 15 years, as you said, heck, the wise bet would be that they don't win another championship.
Yeah, but I don't know about one championship getting a statue. I'm serious about for a guy who only played 62 games for you. And Chris, that's not to poo-poo the championship, but a statue should be of the ultimate. Scottie Pippen doesn't have one outside. He played with Michael Jordan the whole time in Chicago.
They only got one statue there.
No, but I'm just
saying. And it's of MJ.
Okay, but why not? Scottie Pippen won 6. Scottie was there.
Well, if now they don't have to give anybody a statue.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
But if they gave, in their franchise, if they gave a player a statue, would it be Kawhi right now? You got Vince Carter, Damon Stoudemire. No, I'm just kidding. That's another part, is that the history isn't that great. You know what I mean? Like, look, Vince you could make an argument for Vince just because he kind of solidified the NBA basketball in that city. His most exciting years, Rob, as great as he was in New Jersey and all that, his most exciting years were in Toronto. I mean, that's where he did most of his outlandish dunks that have me and many others thinking he's the best game dunker of all time.
Look at all the millennials and young. They don't even know. They never saw him play.
Right, they're like, he can jump?
He's off the bench. He's off the bench for 8 minutes.
A 3-point shooter off the bench.
Are you kidding?
But you could make an argument for Vince, but I think the guy would be Kawhi. And I get what you're saying. It was only 1 year.
Right.
But what a year. What a year. But that's what I want to ask you about, Rob, because last year he load managed. Missed 22 games, and they went 17-5 without him, by the way. And they're actually having a very strong season this year. I think they're legitimate. I wouldn't pick them to win the East, but I think they're a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference. But the load management, nobody made a big deal out of last year for a couple reasons. One, he was coming off the season of injury, so we get it. Like I'm not bothered by Joel Embiid's load management. He's got health issues. And then, of course, they won the championship. So people didn't look funny at the load management or anything like that. This year, because it started so early, which it started like the second week of the season. And also, he has said, and Doc Rivers and others have said, he feels the best he's felt in years. And so there's this feeling that the load management is just that, load management. It's not injury. It's not, injury preservation or bodily preservation or being cautious or anything. It is just rest. And my thing is this, Rob. If you rest like this, he's played 18 games, Rob. Paul George has played 14. All right? Like, Paul George is going to probably play more games than Kawhi.
Right.
And George sat out with the first month of the season with an injury rehab. So my point is this. If you do this type of load management, you better win the championship. Like, if he misses 22, 24, 25 games and they win the title, not only do I think people won't be critical of him for his load management, but I think he will begin an unfortunate trend among NBA superstars, and then most of them will be doing this type of load management.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I don't believe that most will follow suit, and the league will have to make a point, especially, and I'm just saying, if fans are disgruntled and you're buying tickets and starting to be turned off by the whole notion. I don't think it's a positive thing that continue. And you're right. It would make it easier to justify if the Clippers won. If they don't, then people will say, well, what did they get you anyway? He didn't play and he didn't win.
I think he'll get pushback.
There will be, but I don't
and I think justifiably.
I don't think that it's going to be something that all players will do or whatnot. Because all players, Chris, unfortunately, aren't in the mix for the championship. So first of all, the only players that could do it and that even would, if it's necessary, the only players it's really necessary for are the stars. Those are the guys playing the big minutes. I mean, I guess you could say most starters get 30 minutes a game or whatever. Right, but if you're playing in Charlotte or Orlando, are you taking nights off? I don't think so.
No, and I'm not saying every player would do it. Or even most, but I'm saying I do think a good number of superstars would do it. I really do. And I think that would, as you said, that'd be a negative, a huge negative for the game. But if they win it, I do think that it's a copycat league. And a lot of people will follow suit. But my bigger point is this, Rob. I think you got to win it if you're doing this and you're Kawhi Leonard. If you're not legitimately injured, then the only way to justify this is if you win a championship again. And if you don't, I think people are going to push back and then come in like next year. Let's say he's fully healthy right now and he's just resting in 20 games. If they don't win it, I think next year people are going to want him to be playing most games.
Yeah,
like
and the
75 games or whatever.
And the tide will turn. Obviously, if they don't win it and he's not playing, the tide will definitely turn against him. If he continues to do that, and unless you can show me or show fans, make fans really believe he has some sort of medical thing going on,
right?
And unless they can really prove that, and the problem was, I think, and you pointed it out, is that it started like the second week of the season. It wasn't like, okay, it's April, you know what I mean, or May, or March,
even December, or
right? But it was
January.
the second week of the season. The season had just started, so you were like, really, already? It just seemed pretty early.
Yeah, you didn't need rest at that point for sure, and so it's interesting. And like I said, I think it's got to end in a ring. Would you agree with that?
If they get to the finals and losing 7 games, I don't think people are going to go like it was all for naught.
If they beat the Lakers, that would be, I mean, that's going to feel like the finals for a lot of people, although Milwaukee's very tough.
I know what you're saying, yeah. If they beat the Lakers and get to the NBA finals.
Some people might give him a pass, but I just think, like, he's foregoing what Kawhi is saying with this load management. Is this all about the playoffs?
Right.
Because he's really, I mean, Rob, when you think about the all-time greats, you don't just think about what they did in the playoffs and the finals. I mean, that's a big part of it, obviously. The biggest. But still, you mentioned Karl Malone and John Stockton. We think of their regular seasons. And you also look at the accolades, first-team All-NBAs, MVP awards, things like that. Kawhi is foregoing all that. Like, he's taken himself willingly out of the MVP race.
Yep. But his legacy will be bigger. If he wins a title, that's what I'm saying. If he wins another title, Chris, this would be groundbreaking. You know what I mean? To go to 2 different teams.
No, it'd be huge.
And 2 teams who had never won jack, and you come along and you win 2 championships in a row on 2 different teams that had never won previously. Oh, no.
Right. It'd be huge.
It would be.
And in LeBron's house this year.
Yep, it would be. And you would go, wow. It would be mind-boggling.
And that's why I think a lot of other players would start following suit, because in some ways it's an advantage.
Yeah, but
you're getting, that's an extra rest you're getting that other guys aren't getting.
I don't think the league can allow that to happen. I think they'll.
I'm with you, but I think,
that's just me.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks it's good for the game, but I think a lot of guys would do it. And, if you have to come up with some injury or whatever, then that's what they'll do. But we'll see. 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Your turn to weigh in. Would winning another title with the Clippers justify Kawhi's load management plan?
All right, let's start out with Eric in Oregon. You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, E?
Yo, what's up, fellas? Thanks for taking the call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I've called in a couple times to weigh in on load management type stuff. I'm a big hooper. And I don't know if he necessarily needs to win it, but, if he wins it, I mean, come on, right? How can we say that he shouldn't be doing load management if it's working in 2 cities that have never won a championship before? I mean,
right?
No, it would be unbelievul. I agree with that.
It would be unbelievable. And I think furthermore, I think Toronto was a real class act for applauding him the way that they did. I think that he got a lot of flack that first time that he said he needed load management. He was leaving San Antonio, and I thought it was totally unjustified. And what a class act from Toronto.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, here's the other side, the flip side. Right now, the Lakers look tremendous. 21-3. They're routing the Orlando Magic as we speak. So on their way to 22-3, LeBron's playing great ball. And the talk is, why are they going so hard? So if Kawhi wins it this year, playing 60
that's
games,
a good point. That's a great point.
And LeBron and AD are like first team All NBA, maybe one of them is the MVP.
And then at the end, they're not there. Right.
And that's why I think, Rob, that a lot of people, not everybody, but a few more stars will begin to follow Kawhi's lead in the load management.
All right, Justin in Virginia, you're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Justin?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Man,
great, man. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, I just want to say, the load management, even if he wins a championship, I still think people will look at Kawhi. He won't be in the GOAT conversation because he will never have the MVPs. And then you got to think about Kobe and Jordan, LeBron's mentality to play every game and give it your all. He will be remembered in a footnote, but he'll never be one of the greats. And I think that's the problem that will hurt him.
Justin, I disagree with you from this standpoint. If he were to win again, and it would be 3 different championships with 3 different teams, right, Chris? It's never happened.
What, GOAT?
No. I'm just talking about, but I'm saying he would have something that nobody had ever done, right?
Right.
Okay. And then obviously he'd have to win a couple more, but he still has years to go. If he finished 5-0 in the NBA Finals and had won 3 with 3 different teams with nobody had ever done, and then maybe, added a NBA NBA MVP or 2, along the way.
Because he don't play enough games.
Well, but I'm saying as time goes on, he wouldn't be out of the GOAT conference if he was 5-0, first player to ever lead 3 different teams to a championship, and he won 2 MVPs. I don't see how he could be out of the conversation.
Well, he like the caller mentioned just the term all-time great at one point. He'll be an all-time great, assuming if he wins again. He's already going to be a Hall of Famer, most likely.
Right.
And then as far as the GOAT, look, he's not a guy that anyone at any point, even last year, even now, really is projecting to be in the GOAT conversation. But to your point, Rob, if they won it this year, and let's say he wins 5 rings,
say
he's
5-0,
5-1, whatever, in the finals. Then here's the thing. Now, we'd have to see how it's done, but could he move ahead of Kobe or LeBron? But we always say it, Rob, when we talk. When we're comparing all-time greats, what do? Nitpick.
Sure.
And so ultimately in a matchup with Jordan, or if he only ends up with, say, 3 rings like LeBron, or LeBron gets 1 more, they both get 4, or, whatever it is, he is going to lose out to the guys we're talking about because of the way he's handled the regular season.
I think if he wins more, and he does it, and remember, if we're talking about him winning, being 5-0 and maybe beating LeBron, beating LeBron at it, say in LA or whatever, I think that his stock rises.
Well, you're talking about 5-0 or something, but
I'm talking about, but that's what it would have to be.
He can never pass Jordan doing load management.
But that's what it would have to be. I'm saying that I said to be in the conversation. Right, it'd have to be
crazy. If he wins 3,
if he's 5-0 and LeBron, is
well, maybe he would pass LeBron.
Okay, that's what.
But he wouldn't. I don't think it'd be much of a debate between him and Jordan.
How about if he's 7-0 in the NBA? No,
now we're getting like.
Chris, but the load management wouldn't matter as much if he was.
It would lessen. And you can't tell me that wouldn't become the league trend. If he gets to 4-0, I think if he gets to 3, it's going to become somewhat more of a trend. If he gets to 4, it's just going to take over the NBA.
All right.
That's going to hurt him when you nitpick.
No,
because
there's no doubt about it. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I even think at some point people might start to look at it almost as an unfair advantage.
Right. No,
it's like, why they're playing 20 more games a year than you. And it would become a negative against him. But look, if he keeps winning, then you're right. The load management is going to be less and less of an issue.
Exactly. Let's squeeze in your buddy GW from Cincinnati. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's going on?
What's up, man?
Hey, Chris, what happens if Kawhi wins 10 in a row? Is that where we're going to take this absurdity? Honest to goodness. You know what I love, Chris, about your comment you made not a while ago? You just said, well, LeBron and Anthony Davis are getting crushed for playing so hard. That's what we've come to. The simple truth is Kawhi needs to win a championship. Put it this way. If they lose to LeBron and the Lakers, does that mean he's finished? That he can no longer be considered in the same sentence with LeBron? No, load management will be a footnote in Kawhi's career. Great player, Hall of Famer, first team, everything. but this will be our footnote on his career. This was the guy that was a load management guy, despite the fact that actually Tim Duncan and Popovich started it.
No, but they didn't rest that many. They
didn't do it like
they didn't do it like this. GW,
right. I know, right? He's doing it worse.
He
than what
would
Duncan
become the
and Popovich
face.
did.
Yes, he would become the face of it. He's owned it now. Where at the end of the season, Popovich did it, and then the only thing that turned it around was when LeBron and Steph and those guys started missing those national games on Saturday. You remember that?
Right.
That's when
he's going out.
But it was nothing compared to what he's the face of load management. And my point, I think GW is agreeing with me. If they don't win it this year, I think a lot of people are going to be like, "Look, you need to play, a regular schedule next year. You need to play 70 some odd games and
just to stop people with it, right? So people can stop talking about it."
Yeah. All right. 3-point sniper, NBA champion, own theme music. He earned it. It's our man, Eddie House. What's happening, man? Welcome to the Odd Couple.
What's happening, fellas? What's going on?
Yo.
We are good. We are good. Let's get right to it. We've been talking about Kawhi. He's obviously making his return to Toronto tonight. The fans did him a solid.
They did right by him,
as
Eddie.
we think they should have. Yeah, it was. They did it right. But I've been saying, Eddie, with the load management with Kawhi, if you load manage like this, 20 some odd games you're gonna miss, you better bring home the championship. And I think Kawhi kind of has to do that. Like you're saying, by your load management, it's kind of all about the playoffs. So you better deliver a championship. And if you don't, I think a lot of people are going to be like, okay, next season, if you're healthy, you need to play a regular schedule and stop sitting out so many games. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on this is if they get to the finals, now if they lose in the finals, I don't think they necessarily have to win it. I think if you get to the finals, there's another team. There's a team on the other side that did the same thing you did, and there's no clear-cut favorites now. That doesn't. If they get to the final, if the Lakers get to the final, that don't mean necessarily that the Lakers going to win it. There's other teams out there that have the opportunity. There's about 6 teams that have a legitimate chance of winning it this year. So I think to get to the finals, you'll have to just say, you know what you're doing. But if you don't get to the finals, anything short of that, I think you will have to reevaluate the load management situation.
Yeah, I agree, Eddie, and there'll be some pushback, especially. I think everybody was understood it last year because he was coming off an injury. Remember, he didn't trust the doctors in San Antonio and all that. So people wanted to give him his own space to say, do it your way and feel comfortable.
Nobody had a problem
in Toronto.
with that.
No, but this year, week 2 of the season, people had a problem with it.
Well, I think early on, it's just this the thing, man. Whatever works for him and whatever he feels is going to be the thing that's going to get them to the finals. Like I said, if they don't make the finals, then it's time to go back to the drawing board. But if you make the finals, hey, man, that's exactly what you were gearing up for, was to put yourself in a situation to win a championship. And you're right, the Toronto fans did do him a solid. I didn't expect anything less.
Right.
They haven't had their first championship ever to not give that guy his credit and give him his his own little time to where you respect what he did and appreciate what he did for you guys. I think that would have been crazy.
Eddie, one of the guys that you played for, he was an assistant coach with the Heat when you were there, Dave Fizdale.
Yep.
I think a solid young coach, but obviously he was recently fired by the Knicks. They're having a horrible season. They were banking on getting Durant and maybe Durant and Kawhi or Kyrie. Obviously they didn't, and we saw Kevin Durant come out and say they're just not cool anymore. I want to ask you, as a guy, when you were playing in the league, and even now, I'm sure you're still in touch with players and ex-players and all that. What is the perception that players have of the Knicks? Because in New York, the perception is that, hey, everybody wants to play for the Knicks. I saw something recently. They were talking about, well, if they hire Jason Kidd, maybe they can get Giannis. But what is players' perceptions of the New York Knicks?
Think about it. The Knicks really haven't been relevant since the Knick Heat rivalry. You know, and
Right.
in '99, I think was the last time
They went to
really
the finals in '99.
yeah,
right.
in '99, that last time that
They
they really
still
were.
didn't win it.
Right.
I mean,
but
that's almost 20 years now. So, my perception, I played there. Now, it is as far as how you get treated, first class. Now, as far as putting a product, they're second class to a lot of teams out there. What they have done, they think that just because it's the New York Knicks. First off, you're not the Yankees. It's different if you're the Yankees.
Yep.
Right.
Because the Yankees is different. Everybody wants to play for the Yankees.
Yep.
Nobody wants to play for the Knicks. So I think the perception is skewed by Knicks fans by their own stubbornness, just wanting to see them so bad and just, hey, man, we're the Knicks. We're New York. It's the mecca of basketball. All of those things that tie into it make people lose sight of really there haven't been anything for a long time, and they're really not exciting, and they can't bring – nobody wants to play there. I think – and we've seen it this summer with the opportunity to nab Kyrie or nab Kevin Durant and have them both come with a young coach like Fizdale, who I think is a fantastic coach who was taking coach suicide when he took that job. I mean, It just was a no-win situation for him. But I think that you see that Brooklyn is the team that people want to go to. It's more exciting over there. Jay-Z sitting on the court. Nobody really – I mean, everybody loves Spike Lee as far as, the movie. But nobody cares if Spike's on the sideline anymore. They much rather see Jay-Z over there.
Right.
No, there's no doubt about it. One other thing about James Dolan, the owner, and I don't know, I would feel funny playing for a guy who basically took Charles Oakley, who was a fan favorite for a long time, and gave, how he played, gave his body and everything for every loose ball and everything, and basically used him as a rag doll and threw him out the building. I'd have a problem with the owner. Do players look at Dolan sideways a little bit or no?
I'll tell you what, when that happened and I found out it was between him and I said, now that's low down that the owner did that, because Charles Oakley personifies what New York Knicks basketball, quote unquote, is supposed to be, right? So to see that, it's almost like, man, well, you don't care about the history of your team, because most of the people that are watching this team remember Oakley, remember Ewing and all that. So when you do something like that, I think it just rubbed a lot of the players the wrong way. And it's not only, I think, where they're failing at, they're failing to be able to land free agents, but it's the front office. I don't think, the coach is always the scapegoat, but the coach can do only so much with what he has. And I think the most important thing is that they need to start looking possibly, hey, I know he's not going to sell it, but I don't think the Knicks will be anything until he moves off of them or he let somebody who has a basketball mind come in there and really take over. Not like Phil Jackson, we thought that was it, but I'm talking about somebody that really is paying attention to the job.
But they won't sell. He owns that's at Penn Station, Madison Square Garden. So that ain't going nowhere because of the building. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But, hey, I'm just saying it's just the way it's going to be, though, man. It was almost you hate to say it, but that's just what it is. It's until there's a change in ownership, because that's where it starts. I think the Knicks are going to find themselves in the same spot over and over and over and over and over again.
NBA champion Eddie House joining the odd couple. Eddie, I think, if I remember correctly, you kind of like Houston with the addition of Westbrook. They're, I think, the fifth seed, something like that in the West right now, fourth, fifth. But they've lost 5 of their last 9. We know Harden's lighting it up, 38 points a game. Westbrook, though, yeah, he's getting his 22 points.
It's a struggle.
But he's shooting 22% from 3. He's shooting, I believe, 39% overall. Do they look? Right now they're on pace to be what I thought they'd be: 50-some-odd wins, fun to watch, but not going to be able to win a championship and even come close. Do they need to tweak some things, like play differently? Maybe get Russ a little more involved. Maybe make it a little more balanced between the workload of Russ and Harden, or usage rate, or whatever.
I think what's happening, if you pay attention to how Russ is not really an ISO, him on one side, everybody else on the other side of the court, and him go. He's more transition ISO, catch you on your heels, finding gaps and creating for himself, pushing downhill, using his speed and his athleticism. A lot of times you see him, he's just facing defenses. When he gets the ball, he has the guy that's guarding him, and everybody else just loading up, look at him, watching him go to work, similar to what they do with James Harden. The difference is James Harden's game is not Russell Westbrook. So what Russ has to do, he has to figure it out now. And this doesn't just fall on Russ, because if Russ is in the game, he can find ways to make some easy baskets for himself, because he crashes the glass. So when he crashes the glass, he should just push it, whatever opportunity he has. But also, I think that falls on coaching as well. You have to find a way to make your guys your guys in positions to be successful. And, hey, don't be stubborn and say, hey, this is what we're running and this is how we run. You got to try to find when you have a player like that, you have to change your style of coaching as well. You have to say, all right, guys, check this out. This is what we'll do moving forward when we have this lineup in. Russ, we're going to like you. What kind of plays do you like to run? You know, I got to cater to Russ. I can't have Russ trying to run my system, because right now, if you're looking at it, D'Antoni's system is not working great for Russ. He's not getting his opportunities how he was in OKC.
Quickly, do you think they were better with Chris? I think Chris fit better. Do you think they were a better team?
No, I don't think they were. I think it's not a fall off, put it like that. But I just think they're a little better team with Russ. I think he has the ability to guard more players, more positions. I think he has just more athleticism. Chris, I think, a great floor general and way better shooter, which would space the floor. But as far as all in all, when you start checking all the boxes, I think those boxes you have more check marks on Russell Westbrook's side than Chris.
Eddie House, the great NBA champion. We appreciate the knowledge, my man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yes,
hey, have a
sir.
happy holidays.
Hey, you too, man. Y'all take care.
Yep.